Hello. Say hello, VM.
Hello.
There we are. This is the pre-show to the show, everybody. This is to let you know that we're all alive. We can test our systems. We can test if Rusty's brakes sound nice or Jigger's brakes. Oh, they sound lovely. Beautiful. So what we'll do, everybody, is treat you to a test or a fixing of the brakes. We're going to put the car in low range, put my right foot on the accelerator and my left foot on the brake. And eventually what will happen is the brakes will become warm and they'll stop squeaking. There we go. Then of course they'll cool down again and start squeaking, but for a little while we'll have freedom from the squeaking noise. Now we'll do this until we smell a burning. Can you smell burning yet, VM? There we are. Blissful. Blissful silence. And the smell of fire. Delightful. Now, as many people know, the pre-show to the show is the beginning of the show, but not really. I'm still finding it very difficult in my mind to define what the pre-show to the show in fact actually is. Anyway, we are muddling through. Beautiful sunrise going over there. You want to see it, Vim? Lovely. Sunrise.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, lovely. Seen a couple of impalas today. A couple of nyalas. A couple of birds. Where are the Wahlbergs? They seem to have absconded. I don't know that they've raised a chick this year yet. No, I don't believe that they have. Did you? Ah. It's a little bit chilly this morning. I might have to put on my jacket. In fact, it's quite burr. I brought the wrong jacket, everybody. I brought my rain jacket, and it's definitely not going to rain. How does that look, Vim?
Yeah. I can work with that.
You can work with that. That's good news. Good news indeed. Now, of course, this jacket has fallen to pieces, which means that the zip no longer functions, which is very depressing, very irritating. Makes me want to go to the manufacturers and punch them. But I won't do that, everybody, because this is not a violent show. This is a show that is gentle and is born of wilderness peace as opposed to violence. Sometimes, of course, the wilderness is violent, isn't it, Vim?
Very violent.
Yes, very violent indeed. No, the zip doesn't work anymore at all. Right, everybody, we're going to say goodbye to you now. When next you see me, it'll be the real show.
This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to the gloriousness that is the African dawn. We're in search of Africa's wonderful creatures, and this is Safari Live. Ready? Morning, and welcome to Juma Private Game Reserve. My name is Brent Smith. I have Jandre on camera, and we're looking for the Nkahuma Pride. We checked the last position of that buffalo kill. Unfortunately, no lions there. So we're just having a quick run down our southern boundary. Our western boundary, I do apologize, to make sure that they haven't disappeared out of our traverse area. If nothing here, we're going to start moving our way back towards where the last position of them last night was, and hopefully they're going to be out and about and full of joy this morning. Now remember, this is 100% live, and you can ask us questions by using the hashtag safariLIVE on Twitter, or you can send us an email to questions@wildearth.tv. So we're looking carefully into the bush here, both sides of the road, and there's some quite thick areas on the left, and that's the area where they were lying yesterday. So we're hoping they've got up and either gone east or south or north. But I didn't see any tracks on the main access road, so I'm hoping they've gone more south, parallel to this road. It is going to be a stunning day. Kitty cats, where are you? Yes, I can see them. There's tracks, but they're from yesterday. They've been driven over. Now, if they were really full, they might not have moved too far. Oh dearie dear. Well, there's tracks of one lioness crossing into Sibambili. It's only one though, so let's keep checking. Hopefully she's come back, or the rest of the pride have stayed behind. Here we go, you can see where they were last night. See where they were lying. I'm just going to jump out of the vehicle, quickly have a look. Dear oh dearie dear. So they have crossed right here out of our traverse area, unfortunately. Now this doesn't mean that they might not do a loop and cross back in further to the south, so we'll keep checking. Fingers crossed that they've decided to come back. Hello, Justin. Justin says, Brent, you've got to speak their language to get them to come back. I'll give it a go. I'll do some contact calls as we wander down the western boundary. Ow! Bow! Ow! Hopefully they heard that. Tracks of the Nkomas cross into Sibambili, One Eye Pan. Now, of course, I'm not the only soul wandering around the African bushveld, so let's go say good morning to Commander Bond.
There is the sun, everybody. Welcome to this end of the Sunrise Safari. My name is James Hendry. On camera today, Willem Dorenbrak. It's always a quick thumb with Willem. And we're going down Twin Dams Road, that's the road we're on now, hoping to find the inimitable Shongile, Kurula and Hosana, the royal couple, not couple at all, the royal family, I suppose we should say, of Djuma. Please do talk to us during the course of the drive. Hashtag SafariLIVE, question@wilder.tv. Those are the two best ways to get hold of us. As I said yesterday, carrier pigeons, telephones, smoke signals and Morse code will be ineffective. Wonderful. Now, also in my ear is Rebecca. I've failed to announce the final control many times for the last few days, so Rebecca is in my ear and Jerry is tapping away at the keys. And that is the story for this morning. I think Steph will be out shortly on foot with Brian, and that's the team for the day. I don't know why that Hardy-Dar is so angry. Vian wants to know why the Hardy-Dar, which is going over there, is so cross, and I really can't say why it's so cross, but it isn't very happy. A Hardy-Dar, everyone, for those of you who do not know, is an ibis, a large bird with a probing beak about that long that it uses to peck out worms. It's about 19 degrees Celsius today, apparently, I'm told. It feels a little more chilly over here. So, sitting at around about 69 degrees Fahrenheit. It will probably go up to about 780 degrees Fahrenheit by the time 2 o'clock rolls around this afternoon. We have seen some frolicking impalas so far today. They were enjoying a little bit of the dawn, but they stopped frolicking before we came live. Now, the one thing with this vehicle that I'm driving, Jigger, is that the door here spontaneously opens and then rattles, which makes it very difficult to not sort of lose one's mind during the drive. But now I've fixed that problem. Phew. Now, Byron, unfortunately, has left us today. He has moved on to, well, a little bit of holiday, I suppose, as we head towards the Christmas period. That's good on him. But he came down here yesterday and found Shongile, the little female leopard. And isn't it interesting, I think, how she is starting to spend more and more time on her own. And Hosana spent 2 days alone. Shongile seems to be spending increasing amounts of time on her own, and that's not to say that the family has split just yet, but it is showing signs of the typical fracture that happens with a leopard family when the cubs get a little bit older. They are 10 months old as of the 2nd of December. Now, they could be anywhere around here. We're going to keep an eye out for tracks on the road, drag marks of hapless animals that have been killed by one of them. We'll see what happens. Hello, Erica. You're in Toronto, and you've joined. Oh, look. VMP, can you see the puff back there, puffing its back. It stopped. Everybody, that is the black-backed puffback. If you go to the right, VMP, he's in the same tree. That's it. There. That's him there, that black and white bird. And he goes, that's him going. Quite a lot of bird going on in there. Oh, very nice. That's a juvenile. No, was it? I think that might be a brew actually. Juvenile brew, which is a kind of a shrike. Got parrots in the background. Yes. Sitting with a white-browed scrub robin. Is that a white-browed scrub robin? Yes. That's a bearded robin. That's very cool. I've never seen one here before. But that's a bearded robin. It's got no beard, of course, but the ornithologists don't worry about whether or not their names make any sense. Wonderful. Oh, and a redback shrike, one of the first we've seen this year. In fact, that is my first one this year. Come all the way from England. I don't know if that one specifically has come all the way from England, but that is one of the destinations to which they go and come back. This little banded mask, and I think in Britain they're just known as the shrike because it's probably the only shrike species that they get here. There. Let me try and find this robin for you and make sure that I haven't lost my mind entirely. Robin, 344. It's not very modern to use a book like this, of course, but you know, when you're at my advanced age. It was a bearded robin, you know. See, there is the white-browed scrub robin. And there is the bearded robin. Now, the bearded robin, you can't really see the front of it, but it's got that very obvious stripe there. And it's got one the other side as well, which I think is why it's called bearded. Now, does anybody have bearded robin on their bird list? I think that's just really, really cool. Marvelous. Jim, have you seen the bearded robin here before?
Maybe.
Jim says maybe. That means he hasn't been paying attention, of course. Oh, hang on, is it still a shrike? It's still a shrike. Never mind. Never mind. Hello, Talik Kibble. You say, oh, it looks like a birding day today. Well, if we see birds, absolutely it will become a birding day, especially if we stop seeing any leopards. Right, I need to get back to the question from Toronto from Erica. You want to know what animals we see during the day, during the morning, early morning. Erica, there's really not much distinction between the animals we see in the early morning and the afternoon. It's pretty much the same, really. But what we do find is that I suppose they're standing in slightly different habitats. So the antelope tend to be out in the open much more at this time of the day, grazing on the fresh shoots and trying to sort of gather as much food as they can before the heat starts, and then they head into the shade for the majority of the heat of the day. But otherwise, I would say, I mean, the suite of animals that we see is the same, but they tend to be out more because the heat isn't quite so bad. Now, what I just want you to listen to here is the sound of the red-backed shrike. Here he is. It's a brown-crowned chagra and a spotted flycatcher, which has now disappeared. Sorry, not a spotted flycatcher, there's a female redback shrike. That's interesting. Did you see it, Vim? That one there is a brown-crowned chagra, which has the most wonderful call. Its wings flap, it goes, and then it goes. And of course the chagra is a kind of a shrike. Some wonderful birds out today. That chip 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 is the red-backed shrike. Marvelous. We're getting into the area where Shongalai was seen yesterday, so we'll keep an eye out. I don't know if we shouldn't perhaps head into the river, maybe at the next road. We'll go into the Umluamati. The sun is going to be very, very bright today. Now, James Richard, you say that 206 it was on your bird list, the bearded robin, and then another one that was 141. Missed it. Unless that's you. 141, the bearded robin. That's not a common bird for this area. Very uncommon, in fact. Often used to get them in the camp around Londolozi, which is down on the river, but not around here. No tracks as yet, so I think we'll head down into the Mlwamati at the next available opportunity, which is just over here. Alright, Brent Leo Smith is actually not too far from here. He's about over there, heading that way. Let's go across to him and find out if he has found any sign of Kurula.
Well, no sign yet, so we've checked the whole western boundary. The Nkuhumas have definitely not come back. So we're now on the southern boundary, and we're just going to be going very, very slowly, seeing if we can find any tracks of our Queen Karula. Now, she does bounce up and down across this boundary frequently, so we are hoping that the tracks come this way. Head to the north, deeper into Djuma. Okay. Oh. What track was that? Where was that track? Ah! It was one of those funny tracks, very difficult to see, but quite often small birds like emerald spotted wood doves, when they decide to dust bath, it's about the same size as a big male leopard track, but of course it's not. Oh, it's still quite chilly this morning, even though the sun's up. 69 Fahrenheit, 19 Celsius. As you can see, I've got my jacket on. Morning, Leslie. Leslie would like to know how we tell the difference between a male and female lion track. Well, Leslie, it's all to do with size. I mean, the male tracks are much, much bigger, about the size of my hand or a dinner plate, or a side plate, sorry, not a dinner plate. The females are considerably smaller than that. And same with leopards, you look at the size of the track, tell you whether it's a male or female. And when it comes to male lions and leopards, even or before they're fully grown, their feet are bigger than females. Now, young Hosanna, for example, his tracks are pretty close to the size of Karula's, if not bigger already, but definitely by the baboons. If they're not bigger already by the end of next month, I'm pretty sure they will be. Lots of baboon tracks, and as we know, female leopards with cubs that generally will try avoid baboons at all costs. They can pose quite a big threat to the cubs. and even to an adult leopard, adult female. Those massive canines. Now this is one of the Queen's favorite crossing points. Anywhere around this area. Just lots of baboon tracks so far. Baboon tracks and hippo tracks. Now, of course, at this time of the year, the leopards are feeding, not exclusively, but a lot of their diet is made up of baby impalas, which sometimes makes them quite difficult to find because they don't drag a nice big kill, so you can't see the drag marks on the roads. Generally, with most leopards, a baby impala is easy enough to just pick it up and walk and don't let the feet drag on the ground. Now, of course, male lion coalitions can cover vast amounts of area and multiple prides, and as Liz correctly says, the Birmingham boys cover 3 prides that we know of, and Liz would like to know, are there any solitary lionesses within our Travis area? Liz, not that I know of. I haven't heard of a solitary lioness since I've been here, and I can't say I'll speak about the edges of Kruger and that area where they do go, but I think we would have heard by now if there were solitary lionesses about, so not that I know of, Liz. So if we find no tracks on this road, that's also a good sign, because it means that Karula is still within Djuma. Now, I do believe you saw, I think it was young Shongile yesterday, a little bit further down the road. When I was driving back from Hoedspruit yesterday, I saw my first carmine bee-eater of the season. Now we've just got to find them on Djuma. Okay, there's a vehicle on its way. We're probably going to have our morning meeting. Quick chat, what's happening, what tracks are going where, which animals are where. So we've had a chat already with Roy from Arathusa. Now it looks like we're going to be chatting to Harley or Andries from Chitwa, see if they've got any revelations for us. Hey! Minjan. Ah, shop. Jabat and Goma. They cross just south of One Eye Pan into Sibambili. Any sign of Krula? Okay. No, we had them on Pimpans this side yesterday, but no one side. But we'll check now. Oh, we're causing traffic jams. Bye. Okay, so it seems like there's lots of traffic here on our southern boundary this morning. Just 1 second. Shoni, Nkoma's crossed in Sibambili. I didn't see any mail tracks. Okay, well, we're gonna let them carry on. Let's sneak up ahead before we cause another traffic jam. Hopefully we can get off the road. And I think we're gonna go. Oh, we'll let Sean pass. He's in more of a hurry. They're looking for a male lion. So they said they're not looking for any females this morning, only males. Good luck.
Brent.
Hi.
Hi.
How's everyone doing?
Doing a game drive right now on TV.
Yes, we're live. No jokes. That sends a signal to somewhere else. It sends it somewhere else, and then it's live. Yes. Well, that's why they don't. I'm not in the technical department. I just look for animals. Yeah. Cool. Good luck. The cubs are the side. We haven't seen her though for a day. They were, but we don't know if she still is. That's why I'm driving down the boundary. Good luck. Okay, so there we go. Morning meeting's over. And we can carry on our search. So we're now heading down towards the Mawati River. And if I remember correctly, I think that's where young Shongile was, somewhere around that area yesterday. Oh. Here we found Jamie, who is with some. Here we go. She's with some guys who won the Nat Geo Wild to Expire competition, and they are busy filming us. Morning. Again? Yeah. Any tracks?
No.
Good.
Couple of Indulumiti further along Weaver's Nest.
Okay. I'm going to keep looking for Queen Karula. No tracks yet. Nkoma's went into Sibambili. So we'll just keep soldiering on.
Yeah, right behind you.
Okay. Okay, so there's Jamie. Let's carry on. We have a tail today. Well, they're going to be bouncing between tailing us and tailing James. Maybe even stalking Steph. Well, as we head towards the Mawati, it seems like Master Henry has beat us there. Let's go have a look.
Look, everybody. Isn't that so cool? That is a crested francolin that has decided that it's going to give us all a territorial display. That's so cool. Love seeing them like that. And then up behind there, Vyumpi has spotted a a bulbul. Is it a bulbul? No, it's a drongo. Let's go back a little. There's a bulbul and a drongo. Back a little bit. That is a dark-capped bulbul, everybody. We don't see them often either. dark-capped bulbul with its pretty yellow tummy. And of course, as the ornithologists want to do, they've given it a very confusing name. Most of the bulbuls have got dark caps, of course. Some of them are not called dark-capped, though. Used to be the black-eyed bulbul, which is much more obvious. Very nice. Now, I got out here, I thought maybe I'd found some tracks of the leopard, so I got out to investigate, went for a little walk around on the banks here, but I didn't find anything further, I'm afraid. So let's keep having a look around. Hello, I'm not sure I've ever heard from Sammy Soccer before. Sammy Soccer, you want to know if it's spelled B-U-U, if it's spelled B-O-O-B-O-O? No, it's not. It's a bulbul, not a boo-boo. B-U-L, B-U-L, bulbul. There is a boo-boo, but that's spelled B-O-U-B-O-U. So a boo-boo is not to be confused with a bulbul. The boo-boo is a bit bigger, it's a bit of a shrike, whereas the bulbul is not quite the same size and is not a shrike. You should say boo-boo and bulbul. Boo-boo, bulbul, boo-boo. It is like cuckoo and cuckoo. There is a red-backed shrike sitting very prettily on a stick. Oh, look. I think that this red-backed shrike is in its first visit to South Africa. It's not quite as red on the back as it might be. See? And he's got his little bandit's mask. That's the other identifier, other than his back, which is not red as far as red goes for birds. It is more sort of russet brown. I think bandit shrike would be a much better name, don't you, Vim? The bandit shrike.
I'll call it the rusted shrike.
The rusted shrike. Well, you could do that as well, I suppose. Bulbul, boo-boo, boo-boo, bulbul, boo-boo-boo-boo-boo-boo-boo. Hello, Trip Edwards. You say the bulbul, number 157 for you on your bird list. That's very good. It's an excellent sized bird list, that is. Now, of course, you see, in the sand, it is not easy to identify the tracks of leopard. I think there is some form of predatory animal moving along like that way. But there's just been a drive gone straight over this area, and I don't think they spotted any tracks. There she is. Going there. There are two game drives at the top there. There's definitely tracks going in there. Whether they're from yesterday or not, I couldn't tell you. Here she is. She's going along the road here. Ahe, ninjani kwala? Wena nkonzo ya yingwe mara antivi maybe from yesterday. Oh. So I was just telling him there that the tracks of the leopard seem to be going in here. And that is Brent Leo Smith, of course, and he too has seen sign of the leopard. Brent, do you see sign of the leopard? Yeah. gone to the south.
Gone to the south.
How very sad. Let us all mourn.
2. Now we're just looking at the track of number 3. Oh dear.
So the lions have gone and the leopards have gone and all the animals have gone. But we do have Jean-Dre, of course, who is an animal of sorts.
Thank you, James.
There we are. We have Jamie Patterson, who seems to be wearing some sort of beach attire on her head. Very nice. And that fellow behind everybody is doing a behind-the-scenes shoot for Nat Geo Wild. Give us a wave there, Alex. There he is. He's now famous, you see. Well done, Alex. Your fame, well, it's difficult to make you famous if you won't look at us. There we are. There he is, everybody. See what a fine fellow he is. He's from Ohio, which is why he's here, of course. Good. Okay.
Oh dear. There's a male lion calling now, but it sounds like he is in Buffalo.
Right. Marvellous. Okay. Well, I might go to Cheetah Plains. Okay. I'll do a little turn up here because Shongile was around here yesterday. Have you got all 3 of them now? 2.
So it looks like Frule, that looks like Shongile.
Shongile. So Hosanna might be somewhere on.
Lurking.
Okay. I hear. A question from somebody called Tormented Zombie Owl. Tormented Zombie Owl, you would like to know why it is that there is somebody sitting on the front of some of the vehicles. Tormented Zombie Owl, that person's a tracker, and William is the tracker on the vehicle over there, and what William is doing is looking for tracks on the ground. It's obviously much easier for him to see them from the front of the car than it is for him to see them from where I'm sitting. So, I mean, Brent and I, you'll see us, and Jamie, of course, see us looking over the side of the vehicle to see if we can find tracks on the road, but William is obviously in a much better position there to see the tracks. Anyway, that's what William is doing there, Tormented Zombie Owl. I'd love to know where you came up with Tormented Zombie Owl. That really is quite a name. Tormented Zombie Owl. Right, so as you may have gathered there, Karula has gone south, so has Shongile, it would look like. But maybe Hosanna is still up here in the north. I don't think any of them are far from where we are now. We might be lucky, but I think let's just have a little turn around the waterhole here, and then maybe we'll head off towards Cheetah Plains. Let's see what we can find there. Maybe some cheetah, Viam. Hello, B. You're wondering whether the tracker would have noticed what ran in front of the car. It was an Impala. I don't know if he noticed it or not, B. I imagine he probably did. Now, I also would like very much to see Byron's Hardydar nest, but I'm not sure in which tree it is. I have just seen a Hardydar. There's a Natal Franklin. Oh, come on now. There. Oh my goodness, it's right there. That is so cool. Hi guys. Just waiting for Mum to vomit up some worms for them to eat. How delicious. This is just too awesome. Oh wow. 3 little hardy-dar chicks. So sweet. And obviously they cannot fly yet at all. Now I'm just going to, while you look at them, I'm going to open my bird app and find out how long it takes them to fledge. So cool. That is just wonderful. Ha, der, da. Isn't that sweet? And you might just be able to hear them. They're also going. I haven't quite found their deeply, deeply offensive call. Right, development and care of young. Hatching synchronous over a period of 5 days, blah blah. 3 clutch of eggs. 27 days from start of nest building, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. At 7 days, most feathers have emerged. At 15 to 16 days, feather on lower neck and head emerge. At 27 days, fully feathered. So these chaps, I suppose, are not quite at that age. Probably not quite at 27 days yet. Let's say that they're 20 days old. Nestling period 30 to 40 days. Mass at fledging 500 grams. They weigh half a kilogram only, everybody. That's a pound when they fledge at about 40 days. So in a month, they're all ready to fly from the nest. Oh, it's just wonderful. Look at the light catching them. I don't know if you can hear also, they're going. That's the noise they're making. And there's something about this, there's something about watching little birds in a nest that is just too special. I guess it adds to the reason that we love spring so much. There's just something about watching new life growing that is so very special to us as human beings. And I suppose, you know, what it gives us, of course, is some kind of connection with these birds. We understand that the mother there, it could be the father, easily, but we understand that, especially with the birds, that feeling that those birds have towards their youngsters, the complete dependence and the very clear care, attention, and, dare I say it, love that the parents give to their little chicks. Grishel, you're wondering how often they have to be fed. Grishel, they probably are fed at least 3 or 4 times a day. So they eat mainly insects and earthworms, but they will eat a variety of invertebrates and vertebrates, sometimes mollusks, so snails and things, sometimes reptiles. But I think it's largely insects, and certainly in Johannesburg, the food from dog bowls. Definitely are not getting any food from dog bowls in this part of the world. Ellen, you're looking at the size of the hardy-dar nest and you say, how big is it and how deep is it? I think, Ellen, it's probably about, it's pretty big. It's probably about 2 feet across. And it's not very deep. It's quite a shallow thing. It's probably about, I don't know, let's say 6 inches deep. So if those things stick their heads down, they will be invisible. They're very, very demanding. Fighting with each other, begging from each other. And their little beaks, you see, their beaks have still obviously got a huge amount to grow. because they would do themselves some serious damage if they weren't blunted and stunted in the nest there. Now, the hardy-dar that we saw flying off, I think was almost certainly one of the parents gone off on a foraging sortie. And when it returns, then this one will fly off and do the same. So they probably actually feed more than 3 or 4 times a day. It's probably up to 6 times a day. Let me just go back to the app there. Oh, David, while we're looking at something there that it looks fairly distasteful to try and eat, you're wondering about the sense of smell, which of course is intimately woven into the sense of taste. David, the answer is absolutely birds have a sense of smell, and some birds, especially birds like the Andean condor, for example, or various New World vultures, and the obvious example here is the marabou stork. They find their prey entirely on smell. So yes, they do definitely have a sense of smell. I'm sure it does vary from species to species, though. I'm just quickly looking if there isn't anything else I can tell you about this process of birthing the youngsters. At 35 days it'll be able to fly, so 40 is when they leave home. Leaves the nest area at about 50 days and is fed by the adults up until it's 60 years old. And James, you're wondering about how long or what chances they all have to survive. Well, it says here average success of only 50%. So 1.5 of those will survive. 1.5 will not. So about, yeah, it says 50% here. But much of this, much of the studies on the hardy-dar have been done in suburbia because they're hugely successful in suburban areas. So I suspect that there are probably fairly large inaccuracies when it comes to hardy-dars of the wilderness. I would have said 50% was probably roundabout right, and I'll tell you why. I think that nest is not particularly difficult for a predator to come at. And I mean, were a gymnogene to come flying past here, an African harrier hawk, or, well, a monitor lizard or something like that, those chicks would be devoured very quickly. They're not exactly in a hidden position. I'm so sorry, Lucy. The Game Drive radio exploded into my ear. We're going to have to get your question again. Lucy, you're wondering if birds ever neglect their children, and what about other animals? Well, I suppose they do sometimes, yes, especially if they happen to be male. But birds are generally very good parents, both male and female. They tend to look after their youngsters quite well, except of course the female. Yeah, no, there's another nest here. There's a hornbill nest here. Look, just up to the left. Oh, I think he's fed already. Let me just move slightly forward. Lucy, the African jacana, the female, is a neglectful parent. She leaves it all to the males. She has a number of husbands. But the mammals, generally, I think to use the term neglect is to put a very anthropomorphic term onto what happens here. There's a hornbill nest in that notch there. And you see that long stripe there on the branch behind the closest branch. That's it. I think there's a nest in there. I've just seen a yellow-billed hornbill bring a caterpillar to there. I might be wrong, but I think that's where it is. So, Lucy, to say that an animal neglects its young, yes, some are not very particularly good parents, but largely out here, if your parenting strategy has been a failure for some reason, so if you're not a good parent, it's highly unlikely that you would have survived out here. So yes, some of the males are completely neglectful, but that's their breeding strategy and it works quite well for that particular species. Can you still see them then? Give you a slightly different angle. Ooh, it's not a bad angle really. That really is very cool indeed. All the while hoping that Hosanna might come wandering past. But I don't think that's going to happen today. Sheldon, you want to know, there's another wonderful question that often gets asked about birds. Mainly because as human beings we like to hear when animals behave like this. You say, do they breed for life? The answer is probably almost for life. They're monogamous, but whether that means that they have the same partner continuously, I don't know. It says here monogamous solitary nester, probably with a long-term pair bond. So remember, monogamous mustn't be confused with lifelong bonds. So we know that Egyptian geese, for example, and Wahlberg's eagles have very long-term bonds, probably almost for life. But that doesn't preclude them, at least it does preclude them having any other partners. But some birds are monogamous breeders each year, so they will find a new partner every year and get hitched up, if you like, and produce some youngsters, and then they'll move on. I think the weavers would be a good example of that. Look at that funny little thing. But you can also be monogamous and have a short-term bond, like the weavers. Then I suppose you can be polyandrous, and you can have a number of different partners. So in terms of the hardy dart, they are monogamous, but not necessarily for life. Long-term bond, but it isn't necessarily the whole life long. Very good. Let us press on from here and see what else we can find. I think we're going to probably just turn around and then head to Cheetah Plains. I haven't been there for some time. We'll do a little exploration towards the plains of Cheetah. Oops. I'm just going to ask the final control for a report on the weather and whether it's going to be rainy today. I have a feeling that there's going to be some rain, and I'm just going to warm the brakes quickly. They've started to cause nonsense again. Oh, it's a lovely sound! There we go. Fixed. 0.00 chance of rain today. What a pity. That means, of course, that it's going to be volcanically hot. Marco, you reckon those hardy-dars are 3 feathered alarm clocks? They absolutely are, especially if you happen to live in Johannesburg. As we've shared many times with you, they keep many residents of Johannesburg awake. And in Cape Town, in fact, and in Pretoria, many urban centres, by yelling on the roof at 0500, which of course after a heavy night of celebration is very unpleasant. Okay, let's head across to Brent, find out where he is and what he's up to.
Well, we've checked the whole of Cheetah Cut Line. Alas, no sign of any of the big cats or wild dogs. So we've decided we're going to start heading slowly to the west. And we're going to start off by checking around the Buffelshoek waterhole. We did hear a male lion roaring, but he was roaring far, far away to the north of us. So last night, Jean-Andre tells me that they heard a leopard rasping around camp. Could be Tingana, so we might slowly make our way towards that area to see if we can find any sign in that around Gallagher and Vuyatela. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that he's made a kill around there somewhere. But on our way, we're going to check past the Buffelshoek Dam and just slowly meander towards the west, stopping for anything that might pique our interest, including birds, because it seems like James has had such a wonderful birding morning that maybe we should try emulate. Okay. Now, wouldn't it be fantastic if we saw Mr. Gajima? We haven't seen him in a long time. Last time I saw him wasn't too far from where we are now, and this is the area that he does sort of duck into Djuma, with the rest of his territory being well to the north of us. And it seems like James has decided to make the dash to the east, see if there's anything happening on Cheetah Plains. Hopefully he has some luck there, and hopefully we have some luck on Djuma. Well, hello Abigail, who's a new viewer. Welcome to Safari Live, Abigail. And Abigail is asking if we see scat or dung, could we show it to her and tell her what kind it is? Of course we can, Abigail. I will keep my eye open for any cat scat or herbivore dung. Ooh, there's a little scimitar bull. Oh, is he going to disappear? There he is, hiding behind the leaf of a knobthorn. That is the common scimitar bull, of course, named after a scimitar with that curved beak. Oh, doing a little preening. Now, those beaks are incredibly designed to be able to pry under bark into crevices for some of their favorite snacks, which are the different species of wood borer beetle. Oh, off he goes. Now, it does seem like a good morning for birding. James has had some fantastic birds so far. Okay, we're approaching the waterhole. I wonder if anything is there. Oh, there's another. Oh no, it flew away. You can hear a bit of a bird party up ahead. And there we go, sitting in the distance is a hornbill. Kayla is wondering why a group of birds is called a party. Well, it's only called a party when there are multiple species in the same area, Kayla. Oh, there's a grey go-away bird as well. Okay, we're going to park up on the high point of the wall of the Buffelshoek waterhole and see what we can spot from there. Now, Kayla, so a bird party is a group of multiple species of birds that travel together but feed on different things. Oh, hello, geese flying off. Let's see if they come and land at the water's edge. And that they do. So there we go. Let's have a look what birds are at the waterhole, because that's the only thing at the moment. So we've got some Egyptian geese. Oh, very, very still this morning, apart from numerous bird calls. Hello, Egyptian geese. Now, if we come away from them, sort of to the right on the next body of water, Jandre, there's a little, looks like a three-banded plover from there, a little bit more to the right, or have you spotted something else?
No.
A little bit down, a little bit more to the right. And let me just have a look. There we go. A little three-banded plover, looking for little aquatic invertebrates as it feeds around the edge of the water. Very pretty little birds. Hello, hello. Jandre, quickly. I don't think we've got one of these yet this year, or actually since I've been here. There. Wow, look at that. Look at that. Isn't that exciting? Wow! Isn't that incredible? Now, I wonder, I'm going to try to do a different angle on him. But if anyone can tell me what bird that is, I will be massively impressed. You can do that by using the hashtag safariLIVE on Twitter or questions@wildearth.tv. I have now got no focus for anything but that bird. I'm going to try and get us opposite it so we can get a different view. That is definitely the first time I've seen that bird here on Djuma. Got him, Jandre. Absolutely exquisite. This should be a most definite new bird species for a lot of your lists. Okay, look at that. Isn't he a gorgeous? So, it is not a squawker heron, tally-ho. It is, of course, an aquatic bird, but not a squawker heron. And this is the first time I've seen one here on Djuma. And this particular individual is a female. I'm just trying to see if the male might be around. Now, they're quite rare, and they're really, really nomadic, so they arrive all over the place. Keeping exquisitely still. And normally you don't see them sitting out in the open like this. They generally prefer little pans that have got quite a lot of sort of thick grass or reeds around the edge. Now, their reason they're so all over the place, and their migrations are a lot to do with rainfall, so it changes from year to year. Well done, Forest. It is indeed a snipe, but the snipe it is the greater painted snipe. So there we go. There's the male with the dark chestnut head and chest, but there's the female, and that's what we're looking at now. I have given quite a good squiz around, and I can't see a male here, only a female, but isn't that exciting? Let me know if that's a new bird for you. Hashtag safariLIVE, questions@wildearth.tv. It is a new one for my Juma list. And there's that, we get a closer view of that little three-banded plover. Oh, look at that, get a screenshot with a beautiful reflection. Now, Jandre, how fast are you feeling this morning? There's mating dragonflies. They're a bit slower than the others. And you can see, okay, well, we're not going to punish Jandre too much, but look, you can see all the dragonflies drinking. And there he's got, they're the mating ones. Maybe we'll stick on them drinking. There we go. Look at that. Absolutely wonderful. Summer is definitely here when the dragonflies are out in full force. We could definitely use a little bit more rain, but the insects have exploded. Well, let's have one last look at that beautiful, beautiful, well, new bird for me on Juma, the greater painted snipe, female. And she's being very kind. They don't normally sit so nicely either. Exquisite little bird. So as I was saying, highly nomadic. They follow rain. They're considered uncommon to rare through most of South Africa, a bit more common further north. Absolutely wonderful. Yeah, well, let's keep moving. Now my morning is definitely been a success, just from seeing that greater painted snipe. And while we continue on to see what other creatures we might uncover, let's go across to Steph, who's wandering around on foot.
Good morning, and yes, welcome to the Sunrise Bushwalk with myself, Steph Winterboer, and Brian on camera today. And I can't believe we've got a painted snipe. Well, it's a new for Brent on Juma, and absolutely, what a pleasurable sighting. I hope you got some nice pictures of it, at least anyway. I wish I could have seen it in actual fact. I have a watercolor of a painted snipe done for me by one of my guests, and it has pride of place on my wall at my house. But I suppose it's the first time you're joining us for one of these on-foot safaris. Let's just address the fact that we are walking around on foot right here, and we are in exactly the same place that you have James and you have Brent driving around this morning. And you might ask yourself, is it dangerous? And of course it's dangerous. Walking around out here surrounded by the big five and surrounded by hippo and crocodile and everything else over here, lots of snakes, lots of spiders, lots of ticks, everything else can be dangerous, but we're quite highly trained, if I do say so myself. And we know what we're doing, or at least I'd like to believe that we know what we're doing. It gives us this confidence to walk around out here. But more importantly, it's actually one of the best ways to explore Africa. Obviously on foot and on horseback are one of the earliest ways that people explored these areas, and it just adds this different dynamic or this different aspect to the vehicle-based safaris that you with Brent and James this morning. We obviously don't get as close to anything that's hairy and scary and large and grey, but we do get up close and personal with a whole bunch of different organisms, and that's what we're going to be trying to show you today. In particular, what I'm looking for right now is, I just learnt recently that baboon spiders, which are the South African equivalent of a tarantula, females live in these holes, and they live in these holes for up to 25 years. And obviously at the bottom of the hole will collect a bunch of detritus. It'll be her droppings, it'll be the discarded remnants of her food. And what they do is they go through a spring clean at this particular time of the year. And they collect all of this refuse at the bottom of their holes. They spin it into a sack, like a garbage bag, and then they toss it out of their hole. Now, the best place on Djuma to find tarantulas or to find baboon spiders is right where we're standing right now. This open clearing that we call quarantine clearings is home to a multitude of different baboon spiders, but very, very numerous concentrations. And I must be honest with you, nowhere else have I found as many in such a confined space. What I'm hoping to do is stumble upon a baboon spider's hole, which is a fist-sized hole in the ground, lined in silk. Excuse me, just clapping my hand. It's not because I'm happy this morning, it's because there's 1,000 million flies flying around my head as well. And I'm hoping that within a very short space of finding one of these baboon spider holes for you, that we can actually show you one of these refuse bags. So that is an example of what I'm doing out here today. We also heard a lion roar probably about 15 minutes ago, and it is roaring on the other side of Djuma Dam. Now, from where we're standing over here, the other side of Djuma Dam is over there. So where we heard the lions roaring is on top of that hill in the distance there, and that is where we're going to be making our way to in a second. And we're going to be making our way there not because we want to get, well, we want to go and see if we can find any track or sign of this particular lion. Lions are mostly moving at night time. Early morning like now, you can still get them moving, but more importantly is that they vocalize quite a lot this time of the day. They roar, and that helped us to pinpoint his approximate direction. And what I want to go and do is go and give whatever game rangers in the area with us here a hand. We can get into places on foot that they absolutely can't do from a vehicle, and it's just going to allow us to add some value to their safaris. Hopefully, if we see it as well, it gets quite exciting. All right, so now on with my search for baboon spiders. Now, Dane, you've just asked me why their name's different if it's the same spider, and I presume you're talking about the baboon spider tarantula. So all tarantulas and baboon spiders are actually called megalomorph spiders. They're old world spiders, big, robust, strong spiders. Megalomorphs, that is how they're named across the world. In some countries, though, they're called different things. So tarantula is basically what they're called in the Americas. North and South America, they're called tarantulas. In South Africa, we call megalomorphs baboon spiders because they've got 8 legs, and on the last 2 segments of every leg, so if my finger was a baboon spider's leg, the last 2 segments are hairless. They don't have hairs on, and they resemble a baboon, which is a type of primate that lives over here. They resemble their fingers. They've got these dark fingers, dark hairless fingers. So go and do yourself a favor, have a look at a baboon's hand. There should be, I don't know if you're going to find like, hey, a high five, a baboon giving you a high five, but look for golden brown baboon spider and a baboon, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Those last 2 segments on their legs, hairless and this dark color, resembling a baboon's finger, and that's what we call them over here, the baboon spiders. And they get big out here. I must be honest with you, the biggest one I've seen is bigger than my hand. So to give you an idea of how big my hand is, how am I going to do that? Here's my binoculars, bigger than my binoculars. So that size for a baboon spider, that's the golden brown baboon spider, the largest baboon spider that we find in this area. And like I say, frequents these plains. Let's see if we can find one. Now that I've told you all about this, now I have to find one. Hey, Mr. Brian. So what are we looking for? We're looking for a silk-lined hole in the ground. And they are in densities. They're very easy to spot. When you do see one, you'll see what I'm talking about. Doesn't necessarily have to be in the shade. Doesn't necessarily have to be underneath cover. They just sort of appear out of the sand over here. And of course, now that we are looking for it, a story of my guiding life, in actual fact. Hey, let's go and look for elephant, and then the elephant don't appear for the next 3 weeks. Or let's go find a baboon spider there. They're the most common spider on these plains. Nothing. Yes, I've been told when I'm concentrating that I've got to stop scrunching my face up and showing my teeth to everybody, that it's an horrendous visage. So I'll keep my mouth closed and my eyes unscratched. And of course we're not going to see any of these baboon spiders. I'll tell you, so that I can put my searchy face on, I think we send you over to James and we'll carry on looking over here and see if we can find you a baboon spider.
See Steph's searching face. Do you, Viam? No. Quite frightening, really. Here we are. We find ourselves on cheetah plains with the strange... Oh, it's not strange at all. It is it's the white berry bush. It's just growing with slightly bigger leaves. I think probably because it's growing out of this termite mound. But there's something else here too, and it's a creeper. And I wonder quite strongly if this isn't one of the edible creepers that grows in the summer around here, and that's used for something like a generic spinach called morojo. And I think that's what this is. They're normally quite slimy. Yeah, that's the stuff. And were you to see it cooked, it looks like a sort of spinachy sort of snot consistency, really, but apparently tastes very delicious. I haven't eaten it very often. I think it tastes largely of whatever it is that you cook it in. Marvellous. Marvellous, marvellous, marvellous. Right, we're on cheetah plains, like I said, and what we're going to try and do is go into the plains. Just to give you an update on what there is around here, there is Quarantine and Nkanyeni, two of our favourite leopard characters. They are up in Nkoro, so we can't go and see them. But just to let you know, they seem to be having another interaction of some sort. And as Viam pointed out to me as we were driving along here, the last time they met each other, they had a horrid fight. And so let's hope they've put their differences aside, because Nkanyeni was quite badly injured after that last fight that they had. Not very nice at all. Is that the door rattling? It's deeply irksome. And the car is one big rattle, you're absolutely correct. Otherwise, I'm afraid, I think we're alone here on Cheetah Plains, which is not a bad thing at all. It feels slightly like you're exploring terra incognito. What have you got there? Viam, who's doubling as a tracker, said he had some tracks. Ooh. Lumpy? Just to the right hand. Oh, there it goes. Can you see it? Back forward? There we are. Oh, we so seldom get them on camera, and they're so beautiful. That's the black-headed oriole. I would really very much like to get a European golden oriole which doesn't have the black head. And you cannot believe the brilliance of the yellow body. Such a lovely liquid call. Hello, Lance. While we were looking at some plants, I was showing you a plant that is edible and another plant that produces fruits. You say, are there any invasive plants here? Lance, there are a few now and then that come in along the rivers, but nothing kind of feral or invasive that is creating a major hassle over here. So if along the rivers, which generally rise somewhere, or they go at least through some of the communities of people that live outside the reserve and then arrive in the reserve, we get things like the Mexican poppy, there's a wild tobacco that comes along, one or two other kinds of plants which are not natural to the area, and they come in on the rivers and they have to be cleared out. Are any of them invasive? Yes, I mean to a certain extent, but I mean, for example, in the south of the country, not south of the country, in the northeast coast, around sort of Durban and north of that, there was a plant called Chromalina odorata, or the triffid weed, and that was a very invasive plant, and it took over huge swathes of natural bush and land, and it really was a major issue to get it under control, and I think it's sort of semi under control now. But not, it's really a problem. We don't have any plants like that here, which is something of a mercy. Robin, you're wondering about things like poison ivy. Are there any plants that would give us a rash when we touch them? We do get nettles here, stinging nettles, which don't so much cause a rash as they cause it's a very strange reaction actually. Your skin is very sore for a while. I mean, it's very painful, and then it kind of starts to produce water. It's almost like it's not pus, it produces this, your skin becomes wet for sort of an hour or two after that, and then it goes away. So no real rash is there. I suppose there must be one or two plants here that might give you a rash, especially if you happen to be slightly allergic, but there's nothing that makes a huge rash around here. There are no plants here that I worry about going underneath or touching or coming across, because they might cause some form of skin irritation. Cheetah Plains is at the moment not delivering a huge amount. Liz, very similar actually to the plant that I just showed you, the white berried bush, and sometimes they are confused with each other, is the potato bush, and you're wondering about the one that smells like fried potatoes or McDonald's, and that is the potato bush, Phyllanthus reticulatus. This time of the year, and certainly this time of the day, it doesn't really smell. It starts to smell in the evenings and normally in the winter time. It produces a very indistinct sort of greenish flower that smells like potatoes. It doesn't actually produce potatoes at all, it's just the smell. Now Steph has failed, I'm afraid, at this stage to find you a baboon spider, but he is having his breakfast.
I was having my breakfast, but I threw the piece of grass away. And we have found a baboon spider's hole, not the baboon spider itself. She is inside this hole. Come and have a look over here. Here we go. Here is the hole of a baboon spider. Like I said, basically fist sized. You can have a look at that over there. And this is the hole of the golden brown baboon spider. The other baboon spider that is this size is the horned baboon spider, but they have a raised entrance. Their entrance is raised up. Now, as you can see, over the entrance to this particular baboon spider's hole is this covering of silk. And there's been some debate as to why the covering of silk is there. I'll lay you out what I understand about them, and then we can put one of the theories to test. One is if they are about to molt or have molted, while they're waiting for their new skin to get hard, they spin the entrance to their burrows closed, and that allows them to stay somewhat protected. Another one, or another theory, is that when they're feeding on something, so when they've come out and grabbed something out here, something large, they go down into their hole, into their burrow, and they spin the lid closed so that no dust and debris or other animals go inside there. I like to believe this particular theory, and it's only because it looks good, and that I believe that because they are so sedentary and they live for so long, and because they're so large, this particular spider is easily this size here, that they need quite a lot of moisture. And have a look at this. This is my water bottle. Let's see if we can get this going. Just going to dribble some water on there. Have a look at how the web itself holds this little swimming pool of water right here. Now, some water obviously fell through on this side, but this side is holding a pool of water. And I think that they have this web here to collect moisture, and they'll come up and they will drink this moisture probably just before the sun comes up. And it's a very effective mist catcher. We've seen droplets of water on spider webs after some rain or after some mist, and I think this is exactly what that is. Interesting, hey? Now, this particular female would have been living here for some time. Now, well, I'm going to get your question in a sec, Anastasia. This is a female baboon spiders. Male baboon spiders are nomadic when they become adults. This is a female baboon spider. She will live for up to 25 years and live inside this hole only. When they become adults, they lose the ability to dig a new hole. And so if she were to be unearthed for whatever reason or displaced, she wouldn't be able to create a new hole. So this is where she lives all the time. Now, Anastasia, you asked me if we have baboon spiders that are poisonous. Is this one poisonous? This particular so let me put it into perspective. All spiders have venom, but not all spiders are venomous to people. So this particular spider has some venom, but the venom is not harmful to human beings. They give an incredibly painful bite. Their fangs are about ½ an inch long. To give you an example of what ½ an inch is, about 1 centimeter. The distance between the closest part between my fingers. That is how long her fangs are. She's got 2 of them. They point downwards, and she can inflict a very painful bite. But it's not venomous. It's not going to do anything to us from a chemical point of view. There are baboon spiders in South Africa, one in particular, the common baboon spider, which is of medical importance. In other words, its venom does have an effect on us. But to be honest with you, they are not that common out here. And so from a baboon spider point of view, we don't have to worry about that. So Anastasia, just in conclusion there, all spiders have venom, but not all spiders are venomous to people, if that makes any sense to you. All right. Now, we are walking around Vuyatela. Oh, my leg's going to sleep. We are walking around Vuyatela, and where we heard that lion roar was there, straight through that dead marula onto that crest. That is where we're going to be going right now. We're going to be crossing through the drainage line that is in front of Vuyatela camp and making our way onto that hill to see what is going on over there. And I'm told that Brent has found some leopard tracks heading towards Vuyatela as well, which is going to make for an interesting walk around here, to say the least. What can we expect? Obviously, it takes a lot of luck to bump into a lion just because you heard it roaring a mile or so away from where you're standing. Generally speaking, we look for tracks. We track the animal a little bit, see if we can see him before he sees us or it sees us. Or we wait to hear of any other animals making a noise. This time of the day, lions are still roaming around before they go and lie flat in the heat of the day. And what we're hoping is that this particular animal, or animals in this case, the leopard and the lion in this proximity, scare an impala, scare a kudu, scare some zebra, scare some monkeys, and they all start alarm calling, and then we'll move in there and hopefully have a look. That is how I find animals mostly, is other things find them for me, from human beings to monkeys to impala. I don't have the luck that friend Brent has in tracking them down. Mainly because tracking like that doesn't really interest me much. I much more enjoy the little spider things that we've been seeing this morning. But nevertheless, we have to find this lion, otherwise we're not going to know where he is or what he's up to. It's a nice day. I think as Brent alluded to, it's actually not that warm this morning. He's actually got his jacket on at the moment, and it's because it's not that warm, but it has, I think by 11, 12 o'clock it is going to be hammering down over here. Right, so Brent is on his way to Vuyatelo, which is where we're standing now, hopefully in search of that leopard. So why don't we go and see what he has to say about what he's doing.
Hello, hello, and welcome back. Now, to news. I'm pretty sure. And William has jumped off the vehicle, and he's coming from that side, so he's jumped off from Jamie and he's tracking down the drainage line, and we're just having a quick look here to see if the tracks come out. So there's some lovely big trees in this area that Tingana has put kills in before, and it is a good spot for leopards. So there we go, you've got those lovely big jackalberries up there that are excellent spots to stash a baby impala or three. And of course, there's always a high number of baby impala and young.
Sorry about that, everyone. Not sure why we lost any signal there. We are now sitting at Cheetah Plains Pan, which seems to have been, well, excavated, I suppose one might say. There we are. You can see that there are thousands of thirsty animals here. Can you see all of them, Vim?
No.
No. Look at them. Wildebeest and impala streaming towards the water, zebra in the distance, great clouds of dust as the herds of animals approach. There's now so much water on this reserve that basically I think we're going to have to start taking boating safaris. Anyway, we'll go and do a trip around the dams, see if we can find anything at them. So far we've been to Triple Pans, found nothing there. They've also been rather nicely excavated. And that is a at least Cheetah Plains Pan. And then we'll go towards Buffalo Pan, which is now a very large dam on the northeastern corner. See what's going on there. In the meantime, we're going into the plains. Oh, look at this rather spectacular rock there. This is quite interesting, everyone. This is unusual. I'm not going to attempt to pick this up because I'll either do myself an injury or embarrass myself. But here's a much smaller version. And this is not the standard granite. I don't know what this is. It looks to me like it's some kind of metamorphic rock. Perhaps it's gneiss, but you can see that it's like an onion. It comes off in layers. How cool is that? I'm going to drop it on this. I wonder if any of our geological experts, well, Steph of course is a geological expert, he may be able to tell us how this was formed. Isn't that interesting? It's just like, I mean, you peel off the layers. Perhaps it would become a shale over many millions of years. Fascinating. I think we'll take that home with us, Viam. Would you like to put it in your pocket? No.
It has to go on your side.
Okay, we'll put it there for now. It's actually really cool. We shall do some research on what that is. On we go. I'm afraid we have not seen... Have we seen a mammal yet on cheetah plains? No, we haven't. Maybe the clearings will yield a great plethora of life. Well, very positive that Brent Leo Smith has managed to find some leopard tracks. That's very good. Hopefully they will lead to a leopard. There is not a lot in here. I just want to quickly look there because we were talking about the potato bush. Let me go and look there quickly. I think that might be a potato bush. This bunch of scraggly things over here, everyone. It is a potato bush. Is it? No, it isn't. It is a dwarf boer bean. Scotia capitata. You all know the weeping boer bean, of course, that enormous tree that grows on termite mounds and produces beautiful red flowers. Well, this is its very dwarfish cousin, Scotia capitata, the dwarf boer bean. Very nice. I'm talking rubbish. That's not a dwarf boer bean at all. Stand by one. I'm just going to get a bit more. The difference is that Scotia capitata... No, it is. That's what it is. It's definitely Scotia capitata, I'm afraid. So it is not a potato bush. Good. Well, I'm glad we've sorted that out. I'm sure that you were all in absolute flip as to what was going on with it. Desperately worried that I had misidentified a plant, told you a lie, but fear not, I have not. Are you happy with my identification, Vian? Mm-hmm. That's just not a very good example of it. On we go. Ooh. Where there are no mammals, there are always plants. Ossimum. Oh. Wild sage. The other ossimum species being wild aniseed. It is the most comforting smell. Put that there to make my box smell nice, Viam. Yes. So that when I hold my camera to my eyes, I smell comfort. And I will take warm and beautiful pictures. Come on, there must be an animal here somewhere. Now, Sammy and Sorab, you reckon my rock is a sandstone. I'm going to disagree with you, and I'm going to say, I'll tell you why. A sandstone is normally a lot more granular. This just looks a lot more igneous to me. You know, sandstone is sedimentary, so it's laid down in layers. That to me looks like it's igneous. It looks like it's of volcanic nature, that it was once molten and has cooled perhaps very quickly, and that's why those layers have been formed. So perhaps it bubbled out of the earth a couple of million years ago and cooled very fast. I don't know. Well, you can keep looking at it. I might be wrong. Well, that is what I think. Fran, you reckon it's a mud rock or shale, which is in fact a sedimentary rock, but it's much finer than a sandstone. Yes, I could go with that, Fran. It certainly looks like a shale to me, the way it's, able to break up. I mean, if I look at these pieces though, well, maybe it's a sort of metamorphic sedimentary rock that's just been put under a tremendous amount of pressure, and that's why it's been compacted like that. Mud rock, shale, certainly looks like a shale. Now we're on the southern border. Now someone called Random Person 101 says that it is a dinosaur egg. Random Person 101, you are incorrect. It is not a dinosaur egg. It is a dragon's egg. There is nothing going on here. Where have all the animals gone? Right, let's hope Brent is having a bit more luck with his leopard tracking. Let's go and find out.
Now, we're still on the tracks. They're still heading east. But I just heard, I'm going to double check though, that tracks are still going along here. What happened is that we did cheat a cut line earlier this morning and no tracks. Now I've just heard from Andrew that it looks like this leopard passed behind us, so came through once we had passed already. So we're going to keep looking for the tracks. I just want to double check. You never know, it could be another leopard. Highly unlikely, but we'll stick on the tracks. I can still see them every now and then heading straight, almost due east down Central Road. Okay, they're still going straight east. I can see them here. I really hope he hasn't managed to sneak behind us. That would be quite frustrating. Okay, so he probably took a shortcut through there. There's a big game path instead of going where the road had to go. So we'll check now if the tracks come out here. But unfortunately, at the moment, it does look like the same tracks we've been following might have crossed behind us into Torchwood. No tracks here, but that doesn't mean anything. As I said, he could be just moving parallel to us along the game path. Okay, might come back off this corner here. And not yet. We can only hope it's a different leopard, but as I say, I think it is the one we've been tracking, unfortunately. Remember, if you've got any questions for us, hashtag safariLIVE on Twitter or questions at wildearth.tv. Well, even if we don't find a big cat on this Sunrise Safari, I'm still on top of the world with that female greater painted snipe that we saw at Buffelshoek That's my first one at Djuma, or on Safari Live for that matter. I think one of these days I must actually just sit down and work out what my Djuma list is, and we can compare. Now, I heard apparently it was a new bird for quite a lot of you. I know they have been seen on the live drives, but I think before my time, so it's very exciting for me to catch up with them. They're such pretty little birds, and so erratic where you find them. I mean, they're literally, depending on rainfall, depending on the year, they appear and disappear quite quickly. Okay, now let's have a look here now. Here we go. The tracks are back. Oh, darn it. Darn it, darn it, darn it, darn it, darn it, darn it. Alright, I'm just going to double, triple, quadruple check the eastern edge of our traverse. Now, while we keep our fingers crossed that this male leopard might loop back or is just lying beyond the boundary, James is continuing with his birding this morning.
Now, not an unusual bird at all, but one sitting very beautifully in the light there. There is the woodland kingfisher. It had a friend here, probably a possible lover, and she had her wings sort of flared out, and then obviously he said something unpleasant or perhaps offensive, and she flew off, and now he's sitting there forlornly, not calling at all. See how forlorn he is, Wim? His colours really are very special against that background, though, aren't they? Gorgeous. Then also in the background there's a nediki calling. Oh, you know what? I'm just trying to see. This bird, I think, is a juvenile. Now, the way you know that... Oh, no, he isn't. Sorry. The bottom beak, the bottom mandible, is often red in a juvenile, so they look like a mangrove kingfisher, but this one is black. Oh, he's really just beautiful. In the background you can hear a nediki, which is a kind of testicular calling. It's going tick, 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 tick. There it goes. You can hear the Diederik's cuckoo. Oh, that's wonderful. Look how far away he is. That's so cool. Okay, we'll carry on. We're now on the far eastern boundary. We've found absolutely nothing by way of mammal life, but at least we've found a couple of birds. Let's see how close we can get to this kingfisher. Hello, kingfisher. I might be forced to break a rule and take a picture of him at this distance. What do you think, Vim? Shall I do it? Shall I be a rebel? I think I'm going to. Jay Atkinson, you're worried that it would be strange to have a safari with no animals and just birds. Well, Jay, I don't know that it would be strange so much as a little bit sad, but of course when we've got amazing birds like we've got now, it really is very entertaining. I find it, you know, we spend a lot of time with the cats, of course, and that's because we love them so much, but to spend time just with these wonderful birds every so often, I just find very entertaining indeed. There we go, I took a picture of him. How naughty of me. Such a webble. There you can very clearly see his bottom black mandible, his black bottom mandible. and his red top one. He's also got a little banded mask, rather like the red-backed shrike. And he hasn't uttered a word. That's quite interesting. I don't know why he isn't calling. Now, in case you were wondering, I mean, that is not a big bird. That's a very small bird. It's probably about 7 inches long, maybe 8 inches. Oh, maybe he's looking for a hole. Now, they nest in tree holes, so they will be looking for tree holes, and we know that these silver cluster leaves do make quite nice holes. Beautiful. We're on the far eastern boundary, like I say. The Kruger Park off to the east. We're going to go towards Buffalo Pan, see what's there. Stefan Winterboer, however, has something else he'd like to show you. It must have been interesting looking at Steph going. Don't worry, we have audio, as you can hear from Jigger's squeaking brakes. I saw a bird, another bird there. I think it's just a grey go-away bird. It is. I'm going to stick on this road. No, don't worry about it, Liam. It's high and far away. Stay on this road. It's quite a wind now, a strange wind blowing from the northeast. Now, a northeaster is normally one that comes off the Mozambican Channel. And just for those of you whose geography perhaps isn't as fly as others, Mozambique, the coast, probably about 100 kilometers, sort of 60 miles that way. And we could reach the Indian Ocean quite easily by just heading off to the east. And there are cyclones that come through there, and cyclone, of course, is a southern hemisphere or Indian Ocean version of a hurricane, and they come through in late summer. I don't think this is a cyclone, but this is definitely a wind that has come off the sea. There's some sort of system building over there, I suspect. But no chance of rain here today, 0.0% chance, which often means that there will be rain, of course. Now, here is this vast construction known as Buffalo Pan or Dam. Grief. One might wonder if there was some fear of an apocalypse that we need to hold this much water. Buffalo Pan has not buffalo, not water, not anything in it. I wonder if they'll be doing some sort of water sports in this particular dam. It's very deep. What do you think? Jean-Andre can come and practice his free diving here. Oh, they're shooting the sequel to Titanic here, says VM. That's excellent. Right, well, while VM and I discuss the sequel to Titanic that is going to be filmed probably from this very vehicle into this quite astonishing body of water, Stefan Winterboer is now audible. What a relief.
And welcome back to the Scorpion that we've got for you. As you know, bringing you this show from where we are here in the bottom of South Africa can sometimes have a few little technical issues, and that was one, no sound. But what you're looking at right now is a granulated bark scorpion, and one of my favorite scorpions. These scorpions are virtually harmless to us, even though they look so scary. And she's actually quite big. You can see she's had a meal recently. You can see the back of her abdomen just before the tail starts. Look how fat she is there. beautiful scorpion. Now, to give you some idea of size, let me put my finger next to her. Now I'm being very careful. I don't want to disturb her too much. I don't want to touch her in any way. You can see there, she's definitely longer than my finger. Nice size scorpion. And she's not one of the dangerous types. As you can see, those very robust pincers that she has on the front of her body, in relation to her tail, which is quite small. If you have a look at that, quite a small little sting on there. So that's how you decide between venomous or dangerous and non-dangerous potentially scorpions, is the relationship between the sting and the tail. This is obviously more biased to the pincers, and you can see that she uses her pincers for hunting over her tail or her sting. And right up close, you can maybe see, just maybe see, that she's got a lot of fine hairs covering those pincers. That is, those hairs are pressure sensitive hairs. And she's able to actually sense air currents. She hunts by sitting just in an opening in the open. And what she's hoping for is a moth or a bug to walk close by. Those hairs then detect the air currents moving close to her, and she lashes out to those very strong pincers, grasping the victim in her pincers and then just quickly pulling it apart before eating it. Very effective. I've watched them catch moths out of the air. It's the most unbelievably fast action. She's very, very sensitive to that. You can also see those two eyes on the top of her head from where we are now. Those are two eyes. The rest of the eyes are situated, let me see, so she's got the two eyes on top of her head, there, sorry, let me just get my sticks, there and there. The rest of her eyes are situated there and there. So there. Oh, got a violent spider running around like crazy over here, and that violent spider almost got me there. That's just making me nervous. Now, to give you some relation, that little spider that ran through just the top of your screen over there, that is, I'm most nervous about that. Even though the scorpion, which is as long as my hand over here, is right next to my finger, I was much more worried about that violent spider running around over here. They have a venom that is cell destroying. It's a cytotoxin, and a bite from them can turn quite badly septic. Whereas a sting from the scorpion would be a roundabout like getting stung like from a bee. So although I suppose if you're allergic to it, it would be terminal, but without it, it's not that bad. Now what I am going to show you here is I'm going to pick up some of the scorpion's food that it's been eating recently. So excuse me bending over here back into this violent spider's den over here. But here we have a whole bunch of discarded wing covers from last meals that the scorpion has had. Come and have a look over here. There's some beetle, what's left over, and you can see this particular beetle, the only thing that the scorpion has left is one of the segments, eaten the abdomen completely over there, and even chewed on the wings a little bit. Have a look at that. There's the head of another beetle. I'm holding it by the antennae. So she's had a good innings, the scorpion. It's probably where she got so full from. She's in a very, very good place. Granulated bark scorpion. Very nice. Thank you very much, ma'am. I'm going to leave you and your angry violent spider alone now. Let's close up over here without getting bitten or stung. Leave her alone. A lot of things actually eat scorpions out here, I tell you. Civets, mongoose, a lot of nocturnal birds will actually eat these scorpions, but as long as she's underneath that bark, she's relatively safe from being preyed upon. She'll be safe over here. All right, on that note, why don't we send you through to Brent, who's got an update for you.
Now, that sneaky Mr. Tengana, what he did is he snuck across. So we drove down Cheetah Cut Line, and we went and we looked at Buffalo's Hook, and we fiddled around, we saw the painted snipe, and some... in that sort of time period, while we were probably at Buffalo's Hook Dam, he went over the top of our tracks and into Torchwood. Oh dear. It seems today is a day of the kitty cats crossing out. Lots of tracks, Nkahuma tracks, Karula and Cub tracks, and Tingana tracks. Unfortunately, they all have vacated the premises, but I have heard of an animal just down the road that I'm sure a lot of you would love to spend some time with. So we're on our way there. Okay, they're on the move, but so are we. So hopefully we'll get there shortly. Copy, thanks very much, Andrew. I wonder what we're racing to. And they've crossed apparently through the Moati, so we've got to go the long way around. While we do that, James has got some of the funniest looking creatures in the bush.
I don't know if any of you have seen these before this season. Just look down over there. There are some little baby wildebeest. And I don't know when they were born, but I suspect in the last week or so. And apparently Baron, who comes down here quite often, said that he has seen these, and you have seen them consequently with him. And they were about 2 hours old, apparently. I don't know when that was, hopefully not more than 2 weeks ago. Last week sometime, there we are then. They're having what can only be described as a hard sleep. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, goodness, at least they've managed to find a mammal on Cheetah Plains, but I'm afraid you'd be mistaken. They are, in fact, on Nkoro. We're just looking into Nkoro from the northern boundary of Cheetah Plains. That is the Nkoro Tower over there. There are 1 or 2 more off to the left. Oh, look, one's going onto Cheetah Plains. There. It is now on Cheetah Plains, our first Cheetah Plains mammal. That is excellent news. Phew. Goodness, I thought we weren't going to see any mammals on Cheetah Plains today. Right, let's carry on. This is not to cast aspersions on Cheetah Plains. The last time I was at Cheetah Plains, we had wild dogs underneath this tree, and they followed a whole herd of elephants down onto the main clearings down at the south. It was a most wonderful sighting. The water has dispersed all the animals. It really is quite astounding how that's happened. And I haven't seen a buffalo, I don't think, for 3 or 4 days. At least 3 or 4 weeks. There we have a very peaceful Cheetah Plains wildebeest. Good morning. Hello. Yes. Many would call them part of the ugly five. I feel that would be very unkind. Many would describe them as stupid, and I feel that's just because they look a little bit gormless. I don't think they are gormless. This one seems to have a seriously impressive set of eyelashes. I can't even see his eyes. That is amazing. You see that, Wim? He's exactly, almost like a Scottie, he says. Yes, almost like a Scottie dog. Those are some really bushy eyelashes. A young bull, I believe. Not quite in his prime yet, but if he keeps eating this verdant green grass, soon he will be. And all around the woodland kingfishers yelling their heads off, while this great migration of wildebeest continues to stream onto Cheetah Plains. Here we have a whole another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. They're about to stream across the boundary, everybody. This, unlike the Mara River, of course, not infested with crocodiles. It's just a road. And that is why, of course, they're not being quite so ponderous. Come on, get on with it. Don't have all day. That's it. Not sure why I'm sitting here with an expectancy of them crossing the road as if it's going to be some kind of grand event. Oh, it's just a lovely day, you know. The temperature's pretty perfect with this nice northeasterly coastal breeze that's coming in. And hopefully it will remain such. There we go. The crossing has begun. Oh, swimming downstream slightly. There we go. Well done. You've made it. Excellent job. And I think this cow in front of us is still pregnant. Look how swollen her belly still is. I'm sure that she's going to produce another one of those very, very sweet little calves fairly soon. And off to the right-hand side, Vyumpi, I think that one has just celebrated its first birthday. He's going to have a very impressive set of horns. To have horns like that after only a year, I think is pretty impressive. And you can see a young cow off to the left now coming towards us. She's at full charge. You can see her horns also. She's, I mean, the same age as that young bull, but her horns aren't nearly the same size. This is a really nice wildebeest sighting. We don't often have great wildebeest sightings here. There just aren't that many of them. I think she's also very pregnant. Is that the one making the crossing? They're fearless, aren't they, Vim? They have to be to get across these roads. I think we've lost comms. Hello?
Hello, James. We have lost comms, yes.
Rebecca is on the phone, everybody. Yeah. I'll just leave you on there, shall we?
With your wildebeest, but when you lose them,
I'll tell you what.
to Brent.
Let me see if I can do that. Oh, I can hear you. There we go. Now you don't have to listen to her. There we are. That's very clever. Okay. Right, well, apparently we're going to link across to Brent and find out what he's doing because the wildebeest have disappeared. That's not strictly true. They're just behind us. And we'll carry on along this way and hopefully return to radio communications very soon. See you just now.
Well, the animals we were rushing to find was a lovely large group of giraffe. I counted 5 earlier, and there's 3 in shot there. Quite a mixed group, males and females. And for giraffe, they're being quite mobile as they move between different spots to feed. And there we go, you can see her using that incredibly long and dexterous tongue to grab the leaves off a knobthorn acacia. So this is a female. You can see she's got nice long hairs upon her ossicones or her horns. The males, even the young males, will have started balding already. Well, it's the largest ruminant in the world. It's also the tallest animal in the world. Munchy, munchy, munch. Now, we don't see big groups of giraffe too often in this part of the reserve, and because they generally prefer open acacia woodland, whereas most of our woodland here is combretum. But we are lucky enough every now and then to get them as they move through the area. So a giraffe on average will eat about 75 pounds of vegetable matter a day. Now, Anna Marie is wondering, do males and females ever get into a spat and possibly clash their horns? Anna Marie, I've never seen a male and female clash. I've never seen a female and female clash. The only clashing I've seen on giraffe is a male on male. But a female and clashing of horns, again, they normally don't clash horn on horn. They'll clash horn on neck. So this looks like a young male. Can see his bald spots. 2 young males and 1 female. So the 2 to the right, young males, and the 1 to the left is a female. So that's 4 we can see. I wonder where number 5 went to. Around here somewhere. But this big adult female next to us is not moving off. She's enjoying her acacia breakfast. Carnel's wondering, what is the largest journey of giraffe I've ever seen? So the biggest group of giraffe I've ever seen, sure, I've seen about 65 to the east of us in the Kruger on the Basalt Plains in the Knobthorne Savannah. That's the biggest group I've seen in South Africa. Oh, and I've seen, I'd probably say probably similar size in Botswana and in Tanzania. Oh, she's got her foot stuck. She's got her foot stuck between that. Oh. There we go. Success. And you can see, even though they can feed very high with those long necks, it's not uncommon to find them bending down to get some luxurious young leaves. Now, the inside of a giraffe's mouth is as tough as an old boot. So that tree is full of thorns, but she manages to just munch on through them. Now, compared to other herbivores and especially other large animals, a giraffe actually needs less food. And that's because of their height. They're able to eat leaves and that have more concentrated nutrients, and coupled with the fact that they're ruminant and have a very effective digestive system is the reason for them not to need to eat as much as other creatures if the other creatures happen to be the same size. Now, and normally they will not go without water for about longer than 3 days. Now, it is one of the more long-lived animals out here. They generally live for about 30 years, and Sarah was asking that. Now, a newborn giraffe calf is already born at 6 foot, at 1.8 meters, so incredibly tall at birth, and it has a very rude awakening. So when they're born, that giraffe give birth standing up, and that poor calf drops about 2 meters, so taller than me, from mom to the ground. And I have seen giraffe give birth a couple of times. Now, the one very interesting thing about giraffe calves and their suckling, now, it seems to vary very much from different parts of Africa, and not even from different parts of Africa, to different individuals within a population. Sometimes giraffe calves will suckle for up to a year. Other times they'll suckle for up to a month and then continue, and then only feed on solids. So it's quite interesting, and it all depends on the individual giraffe. Now, when they're feeding like this, they'll pluck the leaves, chew them a little bit, and add them to a bolus. You can see that bolus in the giraffe's cheek there. And they won't do most of the chewing now. So, there we go. She'll just chew it a little bit, get that bolus to a specific size, swallow it, and then send it down that long neck, and where it is, goes into one of the 4 stomachs of the ruminator, of a rumen, and then later, possibly when it's hot, they might rest in the shade, and she'll bring up that bolus of semi-digested leaves, and then she will start chewing it again, and she'll chew it a couple of times till she's got almost all the nutrients out of it, and then it will obviously pass out the other side once she's done with it. Anastasia is wondering how many stomachs do giraffe have. Well, Anastasia, like all ruminants, the giraffe has 4 stomachs. Oof, Emily is asking quite a difficult question, and Emily's asking, is it true that giraffe have the highest blood pressure of all land animals? Well, Emily, I would say probably so. Oh, look, she's got away from lions. Look at her back leg, back right leg. That looks like a lion attempted to claw onto her, but she managed to escape. Now, Emily, I haven't forgotten about you. I'm going to have to double check that, Emily, but I would say it's safe to assume that they have the highest blood pressure of all of the land mammals due to the fact of their design with that. They've got an incredibly big heart for an animal that size. Of course, they need that to be able to pump blood to their extremities. I will double check for you shortly. Well, another interesting fact is that they have the longest nerves of any animal. That is a fact. The left nerve is over 6'7" long. And these nerve cells have a combined length of nearly 5 meters or 16 feet in the largest of giraffes. Now, a big male giraffe's heart, as I said, is massive, can weigh up to about 25 pounds. Isn't that incredible? So 11 kilograms, and can be up to 2 feet long. So they've got a lot of special adaptations to have this incredibly tall body, and they have very high heartbeats, of about 150 beats a minute. So that would make sense that they definitely do probably have the highest blood pressure of any land mammal. But we're going to sit with these giraffe a little bit longer. While we do that, let's go see what Steph's found on foot.
Hello through this monkey orange thicket. Now, just as Brent was talking about the giraffe having special adaptations to live in their environment, in a giraffe's particular case, it's feeding at the height that they feed at out of competition with anything else. People have also got these adaptations to living in dry, arid environments. And this is a very dry environment. As you can see, there's very little water. But if you know what to look for, you can find water almost anywhere. And this is one of those things we get water from. This is an ipomea, or a morning glory. And below a morning glory is a treasure house of water. And I'm going to see if I can show you exactly what I'm talking about. So what you do is you follow the morning glory to where it goes into the ground, and then you start digging with a stick. And not too far from the surface, I'm hoping, we will start finding a bulb. I'm just loosening the sand, trying not to damage my guide, which is the plant itself. Trying to keep it quite wide. You don't want to be too close to the plant. And this one's deep. It's good. Much promise. Now, the Bushmen were the ones that first found this, and you know, to be honest with you, it's probably just from watching animals. A lot of this dry season animal behavior that we've been seeing has been pretty weird. And steenbok are very well known for digging up, steenbok and elephant are very well known for digging up these particular plants. They're also very good desert specialists. As you can see, we're digging a sizable excavation here. I'm hoping that it yields. There we go. You might have to come around this side to see it. I'm not going to be taking it out of the ground because I don't want to kill this particular plant. But what I will do is I'll excavate it as much as I can for you, and then we'll just bury it again. Can you see the tuber? So there you've got your ipomea tuber. They're about as big as a tennis ball, a large tennis ball, a large cricket ball. It does have a root that comes out the bottom of the tuber, and this you can get water from, and I'm going to show you how. I just want to clean my hands because generally my hands are so dirty. By the time I get any water coming out of these things, I can't ever drink it. So the trick is to try and grate yourself some of this tuber. Now, without damaging the root, I'm going to get you some there. Now this will do not much to this particular plant. They are used to getting damage like this from steenbok and elephant and whatnot. So the little bit of damage that we're doing here is quickly repaired. You can take out this, and let's show you. You can actually see the moisture already on my fingertips. Have a look at that. And this, you then just take and you suck. It's a relatively bitter tasting water, in actual fact very bitter tasting, but can give you quite a lot. I mean, I reckon you could probably get about a cupful of water from this tuber. If you were in a survival situation, a cupful of water or 200 mils of water is going to mean the difference between life or death. But in that particular case, what you do is you wouldn't suck the tuber, you just take it and you'd squeeze it. You get a lot more pulp, obviously. And let me see if I can elicit a drop for you. There we go. Is it gonna drop? Yes. Hey. It's running down my finger over there. So there we go. Most of it has come out over there, and that's just from this much pulp. And I'd sucked a lot of it out of it, a lot of moisture out of it as well. So that is how you get water out of here. Now what we're going to do is bury this plant again. And the reason why I'm doing that is just to give it back and to say thank you very much for sharing some of its magic with us. Thank you very much. Put it back there again. As I mentioned, they're quite robust things, these plants. Quite often you'll find that these tubers are dug up repeatedly by a steenbok that comes and finds it. Dig up the tuber repeatedly, and debris and soil will blow into the depression again, and then in a couple of months the steenbok will come and re-excavate this again, and it would have been repaired. And you get these tubers that are all deformed. This particular one has managed to last quite long without anything eaten it, but it now has a scar in it with a Stefan signature. We'll try not to come back to it again. Interestingly enough, a story about harvesting natural resources out here in the bush is something that I like to say all the time. I learned it from a very old friend of mine. He's 93 years old this year, and he's still farming and plowing his own fields with a hand axe. Just an unbelievable old man living quite close to here on the river. And he always told me that for respect for the environment, you always collect plants, you collect things from the eastern side of the plant. You never collect from any of the other directions, and you always offer thanks. So that's why I'm sitting on the eastern side of this plant. You always harvest from the eastern side. And when I thought about what he was actually saying, is that he was believing that this is just out of respect to the plant, but it goes deeper than that. If everybody only harvests from the eastern side of the tree, then no one will ring bark that tree. In other words, when you get to a tree and someone's been harvesting it, you will move to the next tree rather than harvest from the same tree, or the lowest hanging fruit, in other words. And secondly, by creating a depression only on one side of the tree, you're creating a compost sump. So you create a depression there, you aerate the soil, you then inject a collection point for water and for wind-blown leaves and debris, and that creates a compost sump right there. And that in itself helps to regenerate and heal the wound from collecting from that tree. And it's just a nice story that I always like to tell everybody. If you are going to collect bush medicine, or you're gonna harvest from the forest, always do it from the eastern side, or whichever side you want to, but whatever is generally accepted in that particular environment, and then leave a little depression there so that it collects some compost, so that the tree then has some food, or as a reward for collecting what you want from them. So just a nice bit of bush lore there. Anyway, thank you very much, Mr. Ipamia, for sharing some of your water with us. Now, to collect the water, you could use a variety of different things. Out here, the best and the most obvious would be to use the discarded shells of the giant land snails. They are massive. They probably hold about a cup of water, but easily between 150 and 200 milliliters of water at a time. And you could quite easily get a cup full of that water in one of these giant land snail shells. And they are almost lying all over the place. You can, without much difficulty, find one. I'm just trying to scan the bush to see if I can find one for you. We've seen a couple today already, and quite a lot of times you find them underneath bushes like this, but we're going to carry on going. There doesn't seem to be any right here right now. I'm glad we got to share that with you. In any case, Mr. Henry is back on Djuma, and I'm sure dying to tell you what he's going to get up to for the last little bit of this drive. We'll catch up with you a little bit later.
We're trying to find here, everybody, a wasp. There it is. Well spotted. Now, this is quite a special wasp, well, in that I don't know what it is. And it's growing or walking around in a plant called the governor's plum. And this is only one of two versions of the governor's plum that I think there are here. I think it's a governor's plum. How cool is that? Now, what is a wasp doing there? I suspect it's probably looking for caterpillars in which to lay its eggs. They're normally very parasitic, these fellows. Look at that. Isn't that just wonderful? Now, the female wasp, of course, is a nasty stinger of people and other things, especially caterpillars out here. And that's because she's got a modified egg deliverer or ovipositor, and that is what causes the stinging. There it is again. This is the most fantastic sighting. I don't think it realizes that it's been over those leaves already. I'm sure it's looking for a host for its eggs. Beautiful. Yes, so that is the governor's plum. Was it the fascinating tree for you, VM?
Yes.
Yes, I thought it might be, you see. That's why I stopped at it. Now, Jenny, do you say you've never seen a wasp like that before? I'm not sure that I've ever seen a wasp like that before. Remember that things like wasp, when we use the term wasp, it's like saying, it's a little bit like saying, well, there's an antelope. You know, we'd never say that about, if we saw one antelope, we'd never, or an impala or a wildebeest, we'd never say there's an antelope. And it's because there are so many hundreds of wasps, not just 9 species of wasp like we have 9 species of antelope here. There are hundreds of thousands of different kinds of wasps, some of which have never been described here. And so, Jen, it's not surprising that you and I should see that and go, well, we don't know what that is, we haven't seen it before. And it wouldn't be surprising if it was a completely new wasp, a completely new species. Hang on a second. Oh, that sound is just so nice. There's some very alarmed looking cisticolas over here. You see on the top of the tree there, Vim, and I'm just wondering if they haven't spotted a leopard. This is a roundabout where we think Karula disappeared. And that is the rattling cisticola making its alarm call. Oof, it's starting to heat up now. And as it heats, the sound of the midday call of the orange-breasted bush shrike starts to come out of the bush. But I don't see any leopards on the ground around the rattling cisticola. Now, just listen to it carefully. You hear it go... There, that's the rattle. That's where it gets its name from. You've got another one there. Oh, right here. Maybe it's just making friends with this one. Isn't that cool? That's very sweet. Well done, Vim. Gorgeous sighting of the rattling cisticola. On we go. You see this friend? It's a dragonfly, everyone. Maybe it was after the dragon's egg we picked up, Vim. Vim very cleverly pointed out that the dragon's egg and its ilk, which we saw quite a lot of on Cheetah Plains, was all around where they'd been doing some road works. So I don't think it's an unusual rock type brought into there, at least that's been excavated there. I think it's probably been brought in, either from a localized quarry where there's lots of that shale, or it may have even been from out of the reserve. There are some people having tea. I wish I was having tea. Shortly I will be. One gets a little peckish on these drives, you know. Says I should pack a snack pack. There's another dragonfly. They seem to like hanging around the cars. we're doing one last foray down the southern boundary, and then we'll go straight up the middle of the reserve. Unless there are no kitties around. This guy's doing about 150. There don't seem to be a great deal of anything else really in terms of big animals. Ah, yeah! Alright, let's go to Steph and get an update from him.
Just have a look at this mountain of sand that we've got here. This is an excavation from an aardvark, or an ant bear as we know them. Now they're not very big. I mean they can weigh up to 100 pounds or so, but just have a look at how much sand is actually coming out here. I'm going to show you by climbing into this excavation, just hoping that nothing comes rushing out at me over here. Hello, hello, hello. Some warthog tracks around here, and what you don't want to be is stuck in here with a warthog. Now I'm in the entrance basically of this particular burrow. It's been excavated at an angle out in that particular direction, but just have a look at this mountain of sand. I would easily say there's probably about 5 cubic yards or 5 cubic meters of soil that is being excavated out of this particular warren. It's just going to be interesting to see like how far it actually goes. Now I'll draw a picture for you on how these dens go from my experience. They pretty much have, in this particular case, let's put our burrow entrance here with the excavation of sand here, and you've got all the sand. They make a loop underground, and then they excavate a circular hole quite often after a loop. And it's there that all the sand is coming from, and maybe used as a den site. They have their babies inside there. They return from time to time and excavate it. So basically that's what it looks like if you were to chop the top off, basically. And I'm sitting over here in this entrance. So a looped side. Just very interesting. So not a feeding excavation. I think that this is more a residence or a dwelling. We've only seen these excavations, the size of these excavations, around areas on top of the crests where we're surrounded by these marula trees, and it's very sandy, the soils over here, but it's only in very particular places around Djuma that you get the type of conditions that we do in these zones where we're finding aardvark excavations. And all over here we've got them. There's another one right there. So there's one collapsed tunnel here, there's one there, there's this big one that I'm standing on now. So definitely been used for multiple times. It's not just one time. This is a mystery, you know. Chad, there's always something new to learn. There's always something new to see, something new to experience. This is just one. These excavations from these aardvark have been keeping me puzzled for the whole season so far. Don't know enough about aardvark. I don't think anybody knows enough about aardvark. Now, Siberia Zumi, you've asked me, are earwig type critters common on bushwalk? I suppose so. Siberia, if you look for them, you'll find them. They generally inhabit moister areas, so closer to the drainage lines where there's a little bit more shade, and underneath tree stumps I've seen them. So earwiggy types, soft-bodied insects with this funny pincer-like appendage at the back of their abdomens. You do see them from time to time, Siberia. I wouldn't say that it's something that I go out of my way to go and look for, but quite often when we're looking for scorpions, or we're looking for big bugs underneath these types of woods, we do find them. Let's see if we can find you one now. Why don't we? It always gives us a chance to see what's underneath these stumps. Alright, now let's see what's underneath here. Oh, there's a violin spider underneath there, but no earwiggies, just some termites. So no luck there, Siberia Zumi. But on that note, Brent has got some baboons to show you, so why don't you rush off there?
Well, we've got some primates that are wandering around opposite the Vuyatela Dam. We don't want to get too close because they can be quite skittish, but they are chacma baboons. We're just going to sit here patiently. Hopefully they'll get used to us. We're about just under 100 meters from them, and hopefully as we just sit here keeping still and quiet, they will relax a little bit. We saw one playing a cowboy riding Mom's back. Now there's apparently more that are coming in from behind us, so we're hoping that they're going to... Oh, they've gone up into the tree. Let me go back and see if we can see into the tree. Oh, there we go. He's watching us from the tree there. You see him, Jean-Andre? I'd love to get a bit closer, but as I said, I'm scared that they will run away. Oh, where's he gone? Amazing. He was just in there a second ago. I mean, I'm sure he's still in the tree, but I did a bit of a disappearing act right at top. Let's just try at the top there. What was that? No, that's another tree. I apologize, Andre. Where are you hiding, baboon? There we go. There we go. Down. No, come on, walk out into the open, you silly creature. Stop hiding behind the bushes. I said that sounds like the rest of the troop's still behind us. So these are sort of the forerunners. They are incredible creatures with amazingly complex social structures. What do you think? Should we go back a bit, Chandra? Yeah. Unfortunately, they're playing hide behind the gory bush at this very moment in time. Also trying to keep an eye out behind me for the rest of the troop as they move through. And they might be coming for a drink. Maybe if we go onto the dam wall, we'll get a better view. Making sure there's no large obstructions behind us. So hopefully what I'm hoping, wonderful English language this morning, Leo Smith, is what I'm hoping is, Jamie just drove off, she said there's some just down here and there are others over there. So if we plant ourselves in the middle and just sit quietly, hopefully we will spot one of the, oh look, there's a big male. There we go, this is going to be better. We're going to start far away so we don't spook them again. There's a big male baboon sitting in the shade. And if you see the weeping wattle that's got flowers in it, Chandra, there's quite a few little ones that look like they're having a bit of a game. A little bit further to the right. They are in that tree as well, but there we go. There was a bit of jumping about and playing about there. Some youngsters. Hello, little guys. Oh. Incredibly agile. Oh, there we go. A baboon surrounded by yellow flowers. You see the wind starting to pick up. This is sort of like the teenage gang, and they always, look at that, he's upside down. That's why it's always great to spend time with the teenagers. They're full of nonsense. Oh. Hello, James. James is wondering, how big is a baboon's territory? James, it is so variable. Look at that. Oh, by the tail! Sorry, James. That was just too much. Ooh, that tail's still there. The teenagers are such good fun. Now, sorry, James. James is wondering, how big is a baboon's territory? Well, James, it is very dependent. Did someone fall off? I thought that. Oh, no, it's still there. It's very dependent on the area. So in areas where you've got big rivers and lots of fig trees and other fruiting trees that grow along those rivers, their territories can be quite small. But in an area like this, they can be very big, maybe 1,000 hectares or more. But maybe even up to 2,000 hectares. But in other areas, they can be as small as 200 hectares. So it all depends on the bush that they're living in and the food availability in that area. Oh, how many little ones are there? About four. They are really, really fascinating, and one of the coolest things to watch. Well, we're going to try to sneak a bit close to these baboons. While we do that, James has got a death from above.
I'm not sure why Leo Smith takes it upon himself to describe every raptor I find as death from above, but I suppose if you happen to be something that this particular bird likes to eat, then death from above is indeed possibly something that is, well, appropriate. Now, I don't know what that is. We know it's juvenile, and I think what it is a juvenile steppe eagle. Now, the reason I think it's a juvenile steppe eagle is that can you see the way its hind wings fold and almost meet underneath the tail there, or on top of the tail, and that looks a little bit like a batelier. The way a batelier's wings fold, it's definitely not a batelier, obviously, but that's the only other bird I know of that has wings that fold that way. Then the other thing is the white mottling on the shoulders. That is typical of a juvenile steppe eagle, but the real clincher, if you look very carefully, is that as far in as you can get, Viam? You might not be able to see it there, but the gape extends behind the eye. Now, the gape is the opening of the mouth, basically, and on most of these eagles, it doesn't extend beyond the middle of the eye. So if you were to take a perpendicular line from the middle of the eye and drop it down, you'd find that that line crossed the gape, and that would be indicative that this is in fact a steppe eagle. And so although Brent has described it as death from above, and it is a very large eagle, this is not a small fellow by any stretch, he's actually largely an eater of termites. So that's about a 2 and a bit foot bird, weighing in at almost 3 kilograms, so about 6 pounds, just over 6 pounds, and such a terrifying raptor is an eater largely of termites. Yum, yum. Everyone loves termites, of course, to eat. They taste like peanut butter fried in a little bit of butter. Let's continue. We're going to go and try and find 1 or 2 more things before we get through the end of the drive, and we have our breakfast. I think I might have peanut butter for breakfast. How delicious. Right, Brent has got those baboons still, and while they're behaving in a wonderful fashion, let's go and have another look at them.
So here we go. There's quite a bit going on. There's some aloe grooming going on between 2 females there. There's some searching for favor going on. So there's a female, and she's grooming one of the big males. Now, this is a very, very important part of baboon life. Now, even if you're a low-ranking female, if you become one of the dominant male's favorites, and you can do that by grooming, by giving him food sometimes. They're able to never sort of change their hierarchy with the females, but a big male will offer her protection and from the other females and from the other males if she does become one of the favorites. And now in that dead tree there's also a young one still up in the dead tree to the left. Or have you spotted something? Oh, they're on the ground now. Oh, there we go. There is one of the teens. Oh, there's another one coming in. Will there be a pounce from above? A tackle to the ground. Oh, a pounce in the opposite direction. Itchy. Now, of course, like most animals that live out here, and especially most social animals, baboons are quite often absolutely covered in fleas. Off you go. Where are you off to? Cause trouble somewhere, I'm sure. I'm just going to try and move slightly more forward. Because there's some more just off here, sitting in the shade. Now, as it becomes really, really hot, which today is going to do, baboons will quite often take a nap or a rest in the shade, which they're doing now. So they've probably been on the move since first light. Oh, she was having a proper sleep. Oh, you can see her buttocks are extremely swollen, and so she is probably in estrus at the moment. Has that other one got a little baby between its legs? The one at the back, it looks like it. Tiny little one. Come on, move you so we can see the baby. Now, of course, when allo grooming each other, they will sometimes eat the fleas and ticks that are removed. Oh, just like that. And that wasn't allo grooming, eating her own fleas and ticks. Yes, she's very heavily in estrus. And there's a big male following her. Are they looking for a little privacy behind the bush? Probably not. So there's another female, younger female. Now, baboon troops can be, well, generally it's between 4 and 5 different adult males that'll be in control. Oh, she's gone into the dark shadows there. Let's just see where that female who's in estrus and the other male was heading. They've headed to a white berry bush. I think back is going to be best for those two. Can't see where the terrible teens are, and they might be frolicking around just out of sight. Spike thorn thicket, that's the last spot we saw them. So here's the big male. I'm just trying to see where the female in estrus is. That's a female with another baby. Hugging mom. Hello, Dale. And Dale is wondering if I can explain the differences between monkeys and baboons. Well, baboons are monkeys, but they're of course a different order, different family of monkeys. When you look at their baboons, they've got much longer snouts, they've got far more developed teeth, and they are generally less arboreal than monkey species, so they do spend quite a bit of time on the ground foraging, and they're like monkeys, they're great omnivores, but also if you look at their tail, it's got that very distinct kink in it. Certain baboon species actually don't even have tails, but generally they're much bigger and less arboreal than a monkey species. So they are not what we would call an ape or a great ape. They're still a monkey. But it has been nice catching up with a troop of baboons. It's not an animal we get to spend too much time with out here. I'm just still ecstatic about that painted snipe earlier on this morning's Sunrise Safari. And for the last few minutes of the show, we're going to go across to the highly entertaining Commander Bond. So from Jandre and myself, we'll see you on the Sunset Safari.
He's ecstatic about the pizza tonight. Is that what he said? That's a very strange thing to be ecstatic about. Anyway, that's going to be it from Viam and I today, everybody. Thank you for coming on our drive with us. It was lovely to have you with us. I'm sorry we didn't find more in the way of big game, but we found some beautiful birds. And that hardy-dar nest, an absolute highlight. We'll see you this afternoon at 1600 hours. Until then, stay safe and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Now, for the last couple of minutes of this particular show, we've found or bumped into this buffalo carcass that is just absolutely astounding to us for a couple of reasons. One is it hasn't been touched, and that is one of these things that we're seeing from this year's drought, or the after effects of this year's drought. And because it hasn't been touched, a lot of the skin is still virtually intact, barring these few places where it's become paper thin on the inside, and you can see how skinny it's basically just the fur left. Every bit of meat has been cleaned off here by insects. I would probably say that the insects were responsible for 99% of eating this particular carcass. It's just left this really bizarre pattern, something that I haven't seen in 18 years of guarding. I haven't seen this many carcasses that have been untouched by hyena, by vulture, by lion. Now, one of the things that has astounded me right now is the fact that these ticks have died with this buffalo. These are host-specific ticks. They're specific to buffalo. And you get different types of ticks. You get 1 host, 2 host, and 3 host ticks. And if I were to hazard a guess, I would say that this is a 1 host tick. It's a hard-bodied tick. And what I mean by 1 host is that they climb up onto a buffalo. They then live with that buffalo for almost their entire life. This buffalo happened to die before they could drop off and lay eggs in the sand, and so they died with this buffalo. They didn't drop off the buffalo. They didn't look for another buffalo because they're not programmed to do that. If we come and have a look at this side over here, we can even see the grass that was inside the intestines is still left over. That is the grass that you're looking at inside there. That is the leftover grass drying out now from the back of the tummy of this particular buffalo. I mean, even its tail hair is still here. This is the hair from its tail. Woo. I tell you, being on this side of the carcass is gee, you don't want to have your mouth open with that in breath. Let's go around down to the front of the toes there. It's going to be so interesting watching this. It's going to be like a museum animal that eventually is here. It's going to be this intact buffalo. See if we can, you can see here that even the toes, the hooves have fallen off, and you can even see the individual toe bones ending in the hoof. So this is what the inside of the hoof looks like. That is what fits into the hoof. And there you've got the individual finger bones that give the end of the foot its dexterity and ability to adapt to a changing surface. Here are the 2 frog toes. I must say, from this side of the buffalo, it's infinitely better smelling. Oof, that other side is dangerous. I just find it absolutely amazing that they've even managed to glean the fat from underneath the fur there. But anyway, what we're going to do is we're coming now to the end of the show, so I'm going to say from my side and from the rest of the safariLIVE crew, when we're trying to get Brian away from tripping over that dead buffalo, from my side we thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you very much for asking your questions. From FC, everyone, wherever you are in the world, have a good day and we'll see you this afternoon.